How often do you come to site?
Probably a couple
Too much. No jokes. We encourage site visits, eh? It's gone from being something in your head and on your piece of paper with Prime Designs to something that we do most of the time and you have little involvement in.
I mean, it feels good to see it going up. Even after sign off, there's still a couple of decisions that have had to happen after that. I don't think that's true.
That's the disclaimer. I'm not an expert, but let me tell you what I know. Why don't we stand in this future kitchen?
Yep.
Okay.
How does it feel once the build's underway and you're not really needed as much?
Obviously at the start there was a massive amount of decisions we had to make early, but even as the build has progressed, there's still quite often there's a phone call about, hey, should we change it to this? Or currently right now there's a supply issue on a certain product, we can change it to another product, and this is what it means. It wasn't like we signed off the build and then go on holiday and come back and it's done kind of thing. You're still involved. But I think like you can be as involved or as uninvolved as you want to be, right? Like you could just say one house please, and you know you'll get all the standard fittings, and the team will be awesome at putting the vast majority of things in the right places.
And it'll still be a great home.
It'll still be a great home.
How often do you come to site?
Probably a couple
Too much. No jokes. We encourage site visits, eh?
Yeah, so a couple of times a week I'll come up, but not necessarily for the build either. Like I'm doing all the work on the outside, the landscaping, and so. There's a bit of time spent doing that. But in terms of looking at the build itself, if I wasn't in the landscaping, I'd be up here once or twice just looking at how it's going. And that has helped us as well, because there's been a couple of times that, for example, there's a switch in the wall and it felt weird where it was, and so we managed to get it changed before the place is all closed in.
I think that's the other thing is you've done the walkthrough with the Sparky,
Yeah.
You've met the building team, you've met with plumber, and those things help you feel like you know what's happening in.
Yeah, and I think having that relationship with them was good, just to build it up. They've called me if I've been at work and said, oh, we're doing this thing, and a new issue has come up potentially about how something might be finished off or look at the end, and they're just running it past me as opposed to making a call, which is nice as well.
Yeah, and I think it's healthy to have that like client, main builder, subcontractor relationship really strong.
Yeah.
And it's important for our team to know that who they're building for too.
Yeah.
They're building Jeff and Jen's semi-rural, kind of off the grid dream home. / subscribe.
So
Chosen a long tagline.
Yeah. We'll get better.
Need an acronym maybe.
Yeah. Well, hashtag.
Yeah.
We tried to come up with a hashtag for you.
Oh really?
hashtag juicy with Jeff.
Juicy with Jeff.
It's always juicy with Jeff. I mean, it's an exciting time, right?
Yeah, like we pick up the kids after school on a Friday and often just drive past and see what's been done this week, you know. At the start they were really excited, now they're getting bored of it, I think, for the most part. They like watching the videos though, so.
Yeah. Well, but they've always been fans, eh?
They've always been fans, yes.
Should we do a shout out to Reef, Fox and Willow? Hey guys!
Wearing the J&K t-shirts to school.
Oh yeah, cool.
So, yeah.
We spent a lot of time before this was even concrete down,
Yep.
working out that this would be your kitchen.
Yep.
How do you feel about the fact that now it's gone from being something in your head and on your piece of paper with Prime Designs to something that we do most of the time and you have little involvement in?
I mean, it feels good to see it going up. Even after sign off, there's still a couple of decisions that have had to happen after that.
What are some of those decisions?
Like we hadn't what the actual kitchen bench was, so we had figured out the kitchen design, and that was quite integral to the house design initially, because
The layout of the room and stuff.
yeah, and just the way that we were trying to do it. I think some houses you can probably get away with, here's the spot for the kitchen and we'll figure out how the kitchen's going to look later on, but I think we were trying to put quite a lot into the space we had, and so we had to nail that pre-sign off on the plans. But then we didn't necessarily sign off on all the little bits or figure out like what the actual kitchen bench was going to be. We knew the shape of it and where it was going to be, but just not what the material was.
Right, welcome to building class. Let's do a bit of a timeline. So there's a person here and they are like, I want a house. And then this is the house here with one window. The crazy thing about timeline is when we actually get to work on site. So in this phase here, this could take anywhere from 6 to 12 months. And this could take anywhere from 6 to 12 months. This side is like client, designer, and council heavy. People think that like, oh, we'll just make a decision when the frames are up, but people forget about this side of it and they just think, oh, we'll just start working. But this is actually where we work with the client and they need to make all their decisions and we need to have all that stuff on the consent so that when here all the action happens, it's not held up. The other thing is here, we've already got a consented set of plans and we've got like pre-made frames and all that stuff. So we need good decisions here to affect work here.
How often do you think you like talking to the builders or to Josh now at this stage of the build?
Yes, I think most of that happened at the start, at figuring out all the plans.
And there was lots of backwards and forwards.
Yeah, then there's not much going on for a while whilst you're waiting for council consent, and then we did a bit of a catch up on site when the plumbing was all laid but before the slab was poured. Which was good to just kind of make sure that things are in the right place before that concrete goes down. And
then it's set in stone, literally.
And then once the frames are up and the roof was on, that's when the plumber and the Sparky were coming to site to start putting other things.
And by that stage, for all intents and purposes, you could walk away and it could get finished.
Yeah.
Like we have got enough information off you at that point
Yeah.
to get there, or to also know what's important to you as well, eh?
For the people who haven't done a new build and done that walking around process with the Sparky, could you like describe that?
So we'd already made a plan, I suppose, or to be fair, that the Sparky had made a plan, so they get given the house plans. So they've gone and then made the electrical plan from that, so where the lights and where the switches and plugs are going to go. We've then revised that. For example, the hanging lights were meant to be over the kitchen island, but we'd rather them over the dining room table, so we'd made some changes there. And that allows them to kind of do a quote for Josh later on down the road. Once all the frames are up, then I got asked to meet the Sparky up here and just do a walkthrough. And so we kind of just walked through and explained all the bits in the plan and why they were there and what was the purpose of them, which kind of allowed him to make some modifications on the spot as well that ended up being a better design overall.
He'll kind of ask how you're going to live your life, what are you going to do, and then move stuff around. Did you find it hard to kind of like make the decision between the lights being here and the lights being there, the hanging lights?
No, that one wasn't, because that's how it is at our house currently.
Yeah.
And I think like you can be as involved or as uninvolved as you want to be, right? Like you could just say one house please, and you'll get all the standard fittings and the team will be awesome at putting the vast majority of things in the right places.
And it'll still be a great home.
It'll still be a great home. I think you get more involved if you've got visions in your mind about how certain things are going to look and the way they're going to be. Or knowing that I'm putting a beer fridge outside, for example, so then I need a PowerPoint for that.
Most important decision in the house, we've decided the beer taps are going over here. We've worked out, given the lessons I learned at the section nobody wanted, we're going to put the beer fridge on the outside of the house, but we've got to get the beer in.
What, 2 months maybe from when we said, okay, well let's do this, to when it was about time to
sign off. 2 stressful months.
2 or 3 maybe?
Probably 3 months, I reckon. We normally say about 90 days to go from like, hey, I'm interested in building, to signing off concepts.
So depending on what else is going on, that's quite a lot of time to figure things out.